A 2-hour drive in rural Mississippi took a couple over 4 hours, and physicists have no valid explanation. I'm Nora, and today on Unexplained Files, we're investigating a road where the laws of reality seem to break down. This isn't a story from a dusty old book. It's a modern account with a car, a GPS, and 2 witnesses who were completely sober. They set out on a familiar path, but the path they found themselves on was something else entirely. What happened to them in those missing hours challenges everything we think we know about time and space. It began as a completely normal evening. A husband and wife were driving home after visiting family, a route they had taken countless times. They were on a stretch of highway in Mississippi, surrounded by dense pine forests and the quiet of the countryside. Their GPS was on, music was playing, and they estimated they'd be home in just under 2 hours. This was supposed to be a mundane trip, the kind you forget the moment it's over. But as twilight settled, the familiar landscape began to feel subtly wrong. The first oddity was a road sign for a town they had never heard of, pointing down a road that shouldn't have been there. They ignored it, assuming it was a new development. But that was just the beginning. The feeling of unease started to grow, a quiet hum of anxiety that something was out of place. Soon, their GPS began to flicker, the arrow spinning wildly before the screen went completely blank. No signal. Then the radio cut out, replaced by a wall of hissing static. Every station, AM and FM, was gone. They tried their cell phones. Both were dead, despite being fully charged just moments before. The atmosphere outside the car felt heavy, oppressive. The trees lining the road seemed older, taller, and strangely menacing. Streetlights, which should have been present along this stretch, were nowhere to be seen. The road was plunged into absolute darkness. They passed old, dilapidated farmhouses that looked like they hadn't been inhabited for a century. Yet they flickered with faint candlelight. A sense of panic set in. They were lost on a road they knew like the back of their hand. They kept driving, hoping to reach a familiar landmark, but every mile only took them deeper into the unknown. The air grew cold, and the only sound was the hum of their engine in a world that felt utterly silent and ancient. After what felt like an eternity, they saw a faint glow ahead. It was the lights of a town they recognized. As they crossed the town line, it was as if they had passed through an invisible wall. Suddenly, the radio crackled back to life, their phones powered on, and the GPS reconnected, placing them exactly where they should be. Everything was normal again. But when the driver glanced at the car's clock, his heart stopped. It was past midnight. Over 4 hours had passed since they started their 2-hour journey. They had lost more than 2 hours of time, with no memory of where it went or what had happened on that strange, dark road. The fuel tank was also significantly emptier than it should have been, confirming they had been driving for that entire duration. They weren't just lost. They had been temporarily removed from their own timeline. In the days that followed, they tried to make sense of the event. They drove the route again in broad daylight. There was no strange turnoff, no ancient farmhouses. The streetlights were all there. It was the same normal highway as always. Their experience perfectly matches the profile of a time slip, a paranormal phenomenon where individuals or groups are briefly transported to the past or future. These accounts are surprisingly common, often occurring in rural areas with unique geological properties or historical significance. Some theories point to localized gravitational or magnetic anomalies that could warp spacetime. Others suggest it's a psychological event, a shared folie à deux, but that fails to explain the objective loss of time and fuel. The couple's story remains an official anomaly, a data point that science simply cannot file away. The Mississippi Vortex is a terrifying reminder that our perception of a stable, linear reality might be an illusion. Are there other places like this? Thin spots in the fabric of our world where you can slip through the cracks? Perhaps the most unsettling question is not where they went, but what could have happened in those 2 missing hours. If you find yourself on a lonely road and things start to feel wrong, maybe it's best to just turn around. For more journeys into the unexplained, make sure you subscribe to the channel. The truth is worth the search.